Good morning. I'm Hassan Giordano, and this is your DMV Daily Dose for Tuesday, February 11th, 2020.
It's currently raining and 46 degrees in Baltimore. Expect cloudy skies starting in the afternoon. Today's high will be 53 degrees, and the low will be 44.
Well, the Baltimore Ravens kicked off the offseason by retaining one of their own, inking safety Chuck Clark to a 3-year extension Monday morning worth $19 million with $10 million of it guaranteed. Clark, 24 years old, is fresh off a breakout season in which he proved that he is a high-level NFL starter. After spending his first 2 seasons as a backup, he stepped into the starting lineup in Week 6. Clark is about to enter the final year of his rookie deal and is now under contract through 2023. The Baltimore Sun has reported on Dunbar basketball great Keith Booth, a 1993 graduate who in May was named to the coach of that storied boys basketball program that he once starred for. But he has since been fired before the end of his first season, according to an email sent to parents by the school's principal on Monday. The email says that the action was taken as a result of a personnel matter currently under investigation by the Baltimore City Public School System. Now, Maryland Matters is reporting about Maryland Working Families and Progressive Maryland who have jointly teamed up to endorse 5 city council incumbents who are seeking re-election. Those are Zeke Cohen from District 1, Danielle McCray from District 2, Ryan Dorsey from District 3, Christopher Burnett in District 8, and John Bullock in District 9. The groups have also endorsed non-incumbents who are running for office, including Logan Adow, a public health expert who is running for the open seat in District 4, Tory Rose, a former federal government worker who has worked in the mental health field and is running for the open seat in District 7, public health professional Felicia Porter, who is running in the open seat in District 10, attorney Philip Westry, who is running against the first-term incumbent, Councilman Robert Stokes in District 12, community activist Akil Patterson, who is seeking the open seat in District 13, and Odette Ramos, executive director of the Community Development Network of Maryland, who is running for the open seat in District 14. Now, the group's preferred candidates are substantially similar to endorsements announced on Friday by 2 healthcare unions that work closely with the Working Families Party and Progressive Maryland. Those unions are SEIU 1199 and 32BJ. The 2 groups plan to endorse in the primaries for mayor as well as city council president in the weeks to come. Now, the Baltimore Sun is reporting on the Baltimore City Council, who approved a $2,500 annual property tax credit Monday night for low-income municipal staffers, a move that they hope will make ownership more feasible for those of us who are among the hardest working, lowest paid employees of Baltimore City. Hundreds of janitors, clerical workers, and full-time city employees who are among the 25% lowest paid will be eligible for the credit, should Mayor Bernard C. Jack Young actually sign the bill or allow it to become law without his signature. Now, the tax credit will help these city workers not only to build wealth through a body of equity into their home or property, but also to have more money available to spend on other things, says Councilman Ryan Dorsey, who is the lead sponsor of the bill. It's unclear how much this tax credit would end up costing the city, but the city finance department said officials should expect at least $815,000 of lost revenue, but warned that it could cost the city in excess of $1 million more if large numbers of city employees take advantage of the new credit. Right now, a sizable percentage of Baltimore's low-income employees either rent their homes or live outside the city of Baltimore. Now, this property tax credit is similar to the one that the council approved 2 years ago that applied to Baltimore police officers and firefighters, part of an effort to get more officers to live in the city where they work. City data indicates, however, that few, if any, officers actually move to the city based solely on the credit. In a January memo opposing this bill, though, a city finance official wrote that the department recognizes the importance of providing additional assistance to city employees, especially those earning the lowest incomes, but believes that creating tax credits is not the most efficient or effective way to accomplish this. This same finance department did not oppose 2 years ago the tax credit for public safety officials, including police and firefighters, mind you. But the city finance department also went on to express concerns about how it would affect city finances as Baltimore prepares for the possibility that it will have to nearly double its spending on public education over the next decade based on a revamped funding formula known as the Kerwin Commission. However, Councilman Dorsey pushed back on this, stating officials must figure out ways to pay for education reforms in a way that doesn't hurt people who don't even earn the city's median household income of $46,641. Now, Dorsey's colleague, Councilman Bill Henry, introduced his own legislation Monday night that moves to reduce the size of Baltimore City Council and calls for more members to be elected at large. Henry is pushing for there to be 6 districts, each represented by 1 member, and then 3 citywide officials. From those at-large positions, the council would vote to appoint a president and a vice president. The final citywide member would be the council's representative on the city's planning commission. Currently, the city council elects and selects one of their own to sit on that planning commission. The structure of Baltimore City Council was last substantially changed in 2002 when it moved from 6 3-member districts to the current 14 single-member districts. Now, Henry, who was running for comptroller instead of for re-election in the 4th councilmatic district, said bringing an additional at-large member would give people more elected officials to turn to if they had problems. Now, the councilman said that over 2 decades of working inside and outside of City Hall and local issues, he's watched Baltimore, quote, roll snake eyes on its elected officials way too often. Quote, I'm looking to change the structure so that it's not going to be such a crippling potential loss for the city if our mayor isn't such a great mayor, Henry said. He added that when the city council is smaller, their relative power to the mayor increases. It is highly unlikely that this bill will pass, given that none of his council colleagues have signed on to the bill. However, if it did pass, it would require a supermajority, 12 of the 15 votes on the council, and have to be approved by the voters at the ballot box. Now, the Baltimore Sun's Phil Davis is sadly reporting on a man who was killed and 2 others who were injured in a shooting in South Baltimore's Cherry Hill neighborhood yesterday, in a very violent Monday during which 4 people were shot, 2 fatally, in a 3-hour span of time. And as Baltimore starts 2020 with the same violence that claimed the lives of 349 people in 2019, police say that they're investigating the deaths of 5 people Monday, ranging from a 51-year-old woman stabbed to death to a man floating in the water near Cherry Hill Park. The city's Cherry Hill neighborhood had been the highlight of one of the brightest spots for Baltimore's Safe Streets anti-violence program, which uses former inmates to intervene in disputes before violence breaks out. Now, before the past 2 days in shootings, Safe Street's Cherry Hill location had celebrated a year with no firearms homicides, according to the Deputy Chief of Staff for the Mayor's Office of Public Safety. Now, the 41-year-old's death brings the total homicide count to 5 for Friday, as police are investigating a fatal shooting in the city's Morrill Park neighborhood, 2 other killings that happened earlier in the afternoon, and another man dying from wounds he suffered during a January shooting. There have been 40 reported killings in the first month and a half of 2020, a 38% increase of last year's total at this time, where the total was only 19 murders at this point, and yet last year was the most violent year the city has ever seen per capita, and yet we're on pace to break even that record this year. Baltimore, we must do better. Look at those in elected and appointed positions right now who are focused more on the politics of this year's election than saving lives and winning souls, doing what they are paid to do. Make your voice heard on April 28th and every day before and after that, because guess what? Elections have consequences, but they are not the end-all be-all. We have to hold our elected officials accountable, but we also have to take back our own city. Big trust. I'm your man, Mr. Politics, and this has been your DMV Daily Dose for Tuesday, February 11th, 2020. For more information on the articles that I've mentioned, just go on over to their website at www.dmvdaily.news.